Thank everyone for coming out. I want to start by saying my name is Tristan Taylor, organizer with Detroit Will Breathe, also a member of Love Voice. And as you see, we have lovely people, community leaders, elected officials gathered here today to speak out against the vicious, atrocious, reactionary offensive that the Trump administration has launched, and in particular with the bombing of Venezuela and the death of Renee Nicole Good. It's finally time to say ICE out of Detroit. It's finally time to say that Detroit needs to take a stand. And with that, I am going to introduce our first speaker, who's been in these streets fighting around issues of police violence and accountability and state repression. Please, everyone, welcome Border Police Commissioner Victoria Camille.
Peace and greetings, everyone. My name is Victoria Camille, and I stand here as the District 7 elected police commissioner, as well as I stand here as a fellow organizer with you, a neighbor, and a friend. And I want to thank each of you for being here today and for showing up every time there's a call to action to advocate for yourselves and for your neighbors. We know that if our neighbors are not safe and free, then we are not safe and free, and that we are in this fight together. Let me start out by showing support for the memos that Councilmember Gabriela Santiago Romero issued on January 8th. Thank you for your courage and your forthrightness in confronting this serious and urgent community safety matter. So let's just take a step back here. Our country committed genocide and stole this land, and kidnapped and enslaved a whole demographic of people, brought our ancestors here to this stolen land against their will, and used us to build this country and its wealth. Then has the audacity to criminalize people who are simply on this soil. Some of those whose ancestors were the original inhabitants anyway, who the land was stolen from. Let's just keep it real. Immigration status matters should be dealt with using tools like paper, pens, computers, conversations, and dare I say humanity, love for humanity, and respect for how we got here. These matters should not be handled with masks, guns, chemical spray, battery rams, and handcuffs. We have our local Detroit Police Department to address criminal matters here in the city. And while DPD is not perfect and there's work to be done locally, at least we have our charter-mandated civilian oversight of DPD and processes for residents to air their grievances. We have no such grievance process for ICE. ICE agents should not be running around Detroit with no accountability measures, jumping out of cars with guns and masks, and terrorizing our communities with impunity. Renee Good could have been any one of us standing here. And Detroit does not tolerate reckless and racist law enforcement in our city. ICE does not belong here. The council member is asking the right questions of DPD. Not only should she receive those answers, but the BOPC should receive those answers as well. And if there are any questions DPD cannot answer, or if those answers don't align with the experience the public is having, DPD must put the processes in place to start collecting that information and provide it on an ongoing basis. In addition, the previous BOPC approved a resolution on June 12th of last year that included the following resolution statement. The Detroit Border Police Commissioners will create a special task force to monitor the actions of federal agencies within the city. Any violation of basic constitutional rights shall be treated as a criminal offense. The DPD has an affirmative responsibility to interrupt any such actions and protect the freedom, well-being, and integrity of residents. I'm in support of that task force being developed, including leveraging surveillance infrastructure already in our city to accomplish this. I call on my colleagues to stand with Detroit's beloved immigrant community to support a safe Detroit for everyone to live, play, learn, and work. Our organization was formed for the protection of civil rights, and the fight for immigrant rights is the same fight for citizen rights. Our fates are intertwined, and all are at risk if we continue to allow the lawless behavior of ICE to terrorize our communities. We must stand together as Detroiters to protect our rights, our freedom, and our safety. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Victoria Camille. Next up is Reverend Paul Perez from Central United Methodist Church.
Thanks, Tristan. I'm Reverend Paul Perez, minister at Central United Methodist Church here in Detroit. The Trump administration has started the new year escalating violence here at home and abroad. The last week, with the death of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis and the shooting of 2 people in Portland, has been utterly heartbreaking. The shortest verse in my tradition scriptures, the Bible, is Jesus wept. I imagine Jesus is weeping now at this very moment that his sacred heart is broken open for the utter disregard for human life and the turning of neighbor against neighbor by hateful lies. Jesus' tears show us what true strength looks like. The strength of love, compassion, and care for the neighbor. Might does not equal right. Care and compassion is greater. It melts the cold of callousness and cruelty. So it is with strength of love, compassion, and care of our neighbors in our hearts that we stand here today to say enough is enough. ICE has clearly demonstrated that its operations are putting residents and law enforcement in our communities and their own ICE agents in danger. ICE is not making our communities or our nation safer. ICE needs to be stopped and held accountable. The bills introduced by Senators Chang, Kavanaugh, and Moss in our state Senate, and the resolution from Council Member Santiago Ramiro that was offered to our City Council will be considered today. These actions will make our communities safer. They do not disregard the laws of this country. They remind us that how we enforce our laws matter, and that we have a moral duty to enforce our laws in humane, just, and accountable ways. Because no one should be afraid to go to school. No one should be afraid to go to a government office. No one should be afraid to go to the hospital. No one should be afraid to go to their church or their temple or their mosque. Because wearing a mask does not make anyone, especially law enforcement officers, safer. I and many of my fellow United Methodist clergy and other faith leaders in this city, in our state, and across the nation, we have seen firsthand as our community members stop attending church, as they delay seeking needed services and care, and are even afraid to go to the grocery store. We have comforted people who are afraid, and people who are grieving the loss of family members and loved ones who have been detained and deported. Enough is enough. You know, sometimes laws need to change. Our immigration system is broken. Doubling down and enforcing a broken system with escalating recklessness is not going to fix it. We need comprehensive immigration reform, a pathway to citizenship for people who are already here, and an investment in processing the backlog of cases are in immigration courts, not investments in militarizing ICE and enriching private detention and prison companies. I want to end by reflecting on investment. Jesus wept because he was deeply invested in compassion and care for the neighbor. The strength of love is always in the investment in compassion and care for the neighbor. Here's the truth. We the people, we're paying the bill. We're paying the bill for the callousness and cruelty of the Trump administration. And we are getting stuck with that bill twice. We pay for the bill for the actions of ICE, and then we're going to pay for the bill as our local government cleans up the mess that ICE agents make. We are not getting a good reinvestment on our return. Here's what we need. We need health care, not ICE. We need living wages, not ICE. We need renewable energy, not ICE. We need affordable housing, not ICE. We need affordable groceries, not ICE. We need affordable water, not ICE. We don't need more cultural warriors. We need wise, compassionate, caring leaders, teachers, and healers. In the words of Dr. King, who we celebrate next Monday, we need to invest in a mass, nonviolent movement of love that is invested in compassion and care for our neighbor. Only then will we be able to dry each other's tears and mend our broken hearts and truly care for our neighbors. That's what we, the people, and our elected leaders and all our communities and community organizations need to be focusing on and working for. That is what's truly going to make our neighborhoods and our communities safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Perez. So up next is TJ from Gabriela Santiago Ramirez's office. Councilwoman Gabriela Ramirez Santiago. Sorry, you know who it is.
Good morning, everybody. As has been said, my name is TJ Rogers, and I work for your District 6 City Council member, Gabriela Santiago Romero. Welcome to the district. I'm here to offer brief remarks on her behalf today. Since day one of Trump's term, our office has received countless calls and emails from residents who are worried about the state of the city, the state, and the country. Neighbors are worried about each other's safety. Teachers are worried about their students. Residents are fearful to go to work, afraid to go to the grocery store, or to go worship, visit the doctor. Children are terrified to go to school, uncertain when they come home if their parents are still going to be there. Local businesses that employ local residents are struggling to stay afloat because people are being forced into the shadows. None of this is okay. It never was, and it never will be, because communities deserve to live free from fear of their own government. And now, following the brutal murder of Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen in Minneapolis last week by a federal ICE agent, fear has spread like a tidal wave across the city. Everyone, citizen and immigrant, documented and not, is afraid. This is what happens when the President of the United States and his administration spew racist, nativist rhetoric designed to other entire communities and whitewash the country's history. This is what happens when an administration sidelights Congress to push through historic funding allocations into the immigration detention, enforcement, and surveillance machine. They're terrorizing our communities and tearing families apart. They're manufacturing chaos to further centralize power, and their attempts to justify the militarization of our country, all at the expense of our communities and our collective safety. But we're all here today to say no more. Detroit is a city of labor, a stop on the Underground Railroad, a city built by black workers and immigrants, a city that knows how to stand up when the government overreaches. We, the working class, poor, immigrant and citizen, black, brown, and white, LGBTQ+, and folks of all faith traditions are here to say in one unified voice, no ICE in Detroit. One more time, no ICE in Detroit. Councilmember Santiago Romero has directed City Council's Legislative Policy Division to explore what local authority we have to limit or ban ICE on city property or within the city of Detroit to protect all Detroiters. We're also looking to explore if we have the ability to limit or ban their operations in and around sensitive locations such as schools, clinics, hospitals, and places of worship. And she's going to continue to elevate resident concerns reported to our office from across the whole city to the mayor to urge her to act now to protect all of those who call Detroit home, because no life, no community is expendable. As long as ICE is free to operate in our communities with impunity, no one is safe. We must act now and lead with love. Thank you.
That's right. I'm gonna say, what do we want? And you're gonna say, ICE out. And I'm gonna ask, when do we want it? And you're gonna say, now. Okay, what do we want?
ICE out.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ICE out.
When do we want it?
Now.
That's what's up. All right, so I'm super excited to introduce the next speaker, who is the Executive Director of Detroit Justice Center, Nancy A. Parker.
Thank you. Just a little bit. Just a little bit for us shorties. Just a little bit. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nancy A. Parker, and I'm tired. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired. Why do we keep having to come out here and plead the humanity of human beings every time this happens? When will enough be enough? I'm not gonna sit up here and convince you that folks who are going to school, who are working, who came here to make better of themselves are human beings. You have eyes. You can see this. Time and time again, this country results to violence upon violence upon violence. When will it be enough? And has the audacity to look at people like us who are tired and say we are the ones rioting in the streets when they're dropping bombs and executing human beings. We all have eyes. When will we wake up? I don't want empty platitudes from elected officials. I am here as a citizen, as a resident of Detroit, as a lawyer, as a mom, as a sister, as a wife, to say this must stop. I don't want you to grieve me or my brothers and sisters when you shoot me in the face. I want you to protect us so that we do not die. All of these killings are senseless. To what end? When will it stop? We're out here in the streets of Detroit to show our folks in Minneapolis and across the country and the world that Detroit stands with you. We want ICE out. It is under no misgivings that they're keeping anyone safe. No one is even alleging this. We are literally operating under fascist control, and we are being told, stand down. There is no more law of the land, so we must allow these people to do what they will. I don't know about you, but I refuse, abhorrently refuse to accept that as my fate. The laws of the land, no man, no person is above. Our elected officials, we stand with Senator Chang, Councilmember Santiago Romero, with what can we do? And this is all this plea, this demand, this show of the people of Detroit. What will we do? Because we won't stand here and shout those empty platitudes. I don't want any thoughts and prayers when people die. I want action now. There are literally things that can be done and that we need to do to protect human beings. We do not wait for them to be gunned down in the streets. We say, ICE, you cannot operate on public property. You cannot enter public schools. You cannot go to public parks. All these vacant lots that's owned by the Detroit Land Bank. You cannot hold staging operations. You cannot utilize Detroit City resources to do the bidding of your evildoers. You cannot use DPD to use traffic enforcement to hand people over. We will not share our data with you. There are literally tangible things that we can, should, and will do. Because if we don't, we have to answer to the people. The time is now. Right now. The people have spoken. We want ICE back. We want our streets back, and we want safety in community hands. We have been keeping each other safe. We do not need terrorists to come into our neighborhood and snipe us out. What will you say when that is your sister, your brother, your mother that just dropped off their child and is trying to go to work? That is looking out for their neighbors, that is doing what we here in Detroit, the Detroit chapter of the National Lawyers Guild, what we train our people to do. We ICE watch, we cop watch, we protect each other, and that is how we keep each other safe, and that is what we will continue to do. Black leaders in the city, lawyers in the city, We are watching. We are pleading. We are telling the city administration, we are telling elected officials, protect us now. Don't grieve me when I'm dead. Thank you.
I'm doing this one more time. What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Ice out!
When do we want it?
Now!
All right, introducing our next speakers. We got a duo, State Senators Stephanie Chang and Mary Kavanaugh.
Well, good morning. I am in awe of all, I'm good. I can adjust. Here we go. I am in awe and admiration of all the previous speakers and all of the community and folks who are here today. Thank you so much. My name is Stephanie Chang. I'm the State Senator for Senate District 3. We're here as a team, and I wrote an op-ed last week. I just want to read a few things from it. Renee Nicole Good's murder is the latest example of two things. First, that Trump's dangerous mass deportation and detention effort makes us all less safe, immigrants and non-immigrants alike. And second, that we are in an ever-compounding crisis at the intersection of immigration and criminal justice. We see masked ICE agents kidnapping people off of the streets. We see dads being detained by ICE and Border Patrol outside schools. We see people who are doing everything that the government asked them to do being detained at their immigration check-ins. We see refugees with expunged criminal records targeted for deportation. We see Nenko Ganchev's death at the North Lake Processing Center, a privately run ICE detention center in Baldwin, Michigan. We see numerous reports of problems with medical care, food, and living conditions at ICE facilities around the country. And we see detained people being moved from facility to facility across multiple state lines, making it impossible for their loved ones to locate them or for attorneys to provide legal services. We see due process violation after due process violation, and we hear about deportees shackled for more than 40 hours on flights to countries sometimes that they never even lived in. And I want to lift up a couple of names of people who are currently in ICE detention. Ernesto Cuevas Enciso, who was simply driving to work as a former DACA recipient, a dad of a 1-year-old baby, someone who's pursuing his green card and has legal work authorization. There is no reason for him to be being detained right now. And I think about the 4 students and graduates of Western International High School, Curly, Anthony Moore, and Santiago, who are all here pursuing legal asylum. They are just trying to live their lives in Detroit. They're trying to pursue their dreams, pursue their opportunity. These are not folks who should be in detention right now. The mass deportation and detention efforts that are happening across our country are not only unprecedented, they are inhumane and they need to end. So Senator Kavanaugh and I are excited to support Councilmember Santiago Romero's efforts at the local level and grateful for her continued steadfast leadership. And at the state level, we will continue to push forward our 3 pieces of legislation in the Senate and the House. Senate Bills 508 through 510, which would ban the wearing of face covering masks by law enforcement, protect people's personal information from being used by immigration without a judicial warrant, and also to protect schools, places of worship, hospitals, domestic violence shelters, courthouses, from immigration enforcement. These are all policies that we know can work. They are policies that have been enacted in other states and other cities, and Michigan needs to take action now. Thank you.
Thank you. Community leaders, clergy, advocates, Detroiters who are standing together today, not out of politics, but out of love for our neighbor, our children, and our shared humanity. I'm pissed that we even have to be here. My name is Mary Kavanaugh. I'm the state senator and also chair of the Michigan Legislative Latino Caucus. I am also a proud first-generation Mexican American. I am standing here today because something is deeply wrong. What we are seeing in our country is not public safety, it's fear. It is trauma. It is our government power being used in what are ripping our families and our communities apart. This administration's immigration enforcement tactics are creating panic, not protection. They are endangering our children. They are forcing parents to choose between going to work and keeping their kids safe. They are making people afraid to go to school, to court, to hospitals, places that should never be associated with fear. We have seen the consequences already in Minneapolis, in schools closing because parents are terrified to send their kids to school, in daycares being targeted, in people going missing off our streets and in every single one of our communities. When families are afraid to leave their homes, this is not safety. This is not order. This is not governing, and it must stop. We need to be very clear. Standing up means more than words, more than posts, more than social media, and more than outrage. It means action. As you heard from Senator Chang, alongside Senator Moss, we introduced the Immigrants' Rights Package because Michigan does not have to repeat the harm we are seeing across the country. This legislation says law enforcement cannot hand over identifying data with a proper legal process. No law enforcement officer, federal, state, or local, can be masked and unidentifiable while exercising authorities within our communities. And my bill restores long-standing protected spaces, schools, hospitals, healthcare facilities, courtrooms, protections that has existed for decades across several administrations, regardless of party. These protections were common sense, they were humane, and undoing them has real-life consequences that we're seeing play out in real time. As legislators, we have a responsibility not to look away, not to wait, not to stay silent, but to protect the people who live here. So today, I, as well as everyone behind me, stand with Detroiters, we stand with the state, we stand for dignity, and we stand for safety. And we say clearly, there is no place for ICE terror in Detroit. We urge City Council and the Mayor to act now, and as we encourage our colleagues in the legislature to pass these policies into law, because protecting our communities is not radical, it's our job. Thank you.
All right, thank you, State Senator Stephanie Chang and Mary Kavanaugh. Our next speaker, let me put this up for him.
I'm not that tall.
Secret, he was one of the young people when I was younger who I used to organize and work with. So we have up next, and he'll introduce himself properly, but former state rep, you were still, I'm sorry, still state rep, Donovan McKinney.
Oh, man. Good morning, everybody. Tragic, tragic day. It's sad that we have to live in this world, that we have to be afraid to wake up in the morning and step outside our doors. Now, ICE has a long history in Detroit, for those who don't know. The Homeland and Security Authorization Act of 2002 that President Bush signed into law, which created ICE. ICE has been in Detroit for over a decade now, terrorizing our communities and our neighbors, especially our folks who live in Southwest Detroit. This is not new to our area, but what is new is the constant harassment on a national scale. Now, what happened to Renee Good is far-right criminal. And damn right, the negligence of this administration, the fascism that is coming out of the White House is permeating in our communities, and we see it every damn day. And it just breaks my heart because we can stand here in solidarity and speak so eloquently about why we should abolish ICE. But we all know this orange man in office will not listen. And this is why elections matter. Yes, that's right. This is why our voices collectively matter. When we come together, things will change. And I'm just so proud to be standing here next to you all. Earlier last summer, I co-sponsored legislation. State Rep, I got to give a shout out to her, Betsy Kofia out of the Traverse City area, introduced legislation called Justice Has No Masks. And in this piece of legislation, it requires not only ICE agents, but law enforcement agencies across our state, when they're conducting businesses and doing what they need to do or doing the terror that they're doing, that we have the opportunity as citizens of this great state, of this great country, to see who's doing the terrorizing in our communities. And now we have legislation in the state Senate that once it comes over to the House, I'm proud to vote for it. Senators Chang, Kavanaugh, and Moss's legislation. But we have to do more. Not only we have to abolish ICE, but we have to stand together in solidarity and send a message that enough is enough. Am I right? Say it with me. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Now I want to create or really put together a parallel between what ICE is doing now and what law enforcement agencies has done historically to black people in this country over the years. How many people heard about the Green Book? Raise your hand. The Green Book. For those who don't know about the Green Book, and I have a copy at home in my office and at the Capitol in my office. And it's a reminder, it's a motorist guide for black people who are traveling from state to state, from city to city. And it lays out where areas are safe, because they are getting lynched and hung and stopped. And I want to create a direct parallel of what's happening now. Literally 4 construction workers yesterday in Sterling Heights, I'm not sure if you heard the story, were pulled over and taken by ICE because they didn't have a license on them. Fuck ICE. I was trying to keep it clean. Fuck ICE.
But not the good part.
But we have to live in a society in the year 2026 in America where we have to carry papers.
Papers, please.
This ain't this ain't a third world country. This is America. This is the United States of America. Quick story. My wife and I, we took a road trip with our 3 kiddos. We have 3 children under the age of 4. The first time we took all 3 of them in the car. But we did it over this past weekend. And the night before we left, my wife came to me and she said, Donovan, do you think we need to take our passports? Because that's the only form of identification that our children have right now, besides their birth certificate. And because she is afraid, and I called my mom, and my mom was crying on the phone, praying as we are driving to our destination, because they don't know if we're going to come back home alive and make it home back. So all that we're trying to say is that it can happen to any one of us. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown. It doesn't matter who you believe in. If you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Palestinian, it doesn't matter. We're all under attack. And Trump is here today. He's visiting us right now. And when Trump comes, our Republicans in the state legislature, they just go nuts. They start trying to do all the criminal things that are happening in DC here. And to be honest, we're not them. We are better than that. We deserve more. And we deserve, and this is a message to Trump from all of us, stop playing games. Stop causing all of this fascism and hate and division in our communities, and abolish ICE. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless.
All right. So our next speaker is a community activist that's based in Southwest Detroit, and one of the organizers of the People's Assembly that's been doing the grassroots organizing there and across the city, Josh Medina.
Hello everyone, good morning.
He needs it.
Hello, good morning. I'm Joshua Medina, and just like many people here and many people across Detroit in our neighborhoods, I'm an organizer with Asamblea Popular, the People's Assembly. You know, it's a movement of teachers, healthcare workers, laborers, service workers, artists, community development workers, you name it, that have come together and you know, responded to this threat. And I want to start by honoring Renee Nicole Good, and I want to say that Detroit is going to move forward in her honor, and we're not going to move forward dictated by the terror that ICE has spread in our communities. So I want to make that clear and remind us of that. You know, it was over a year ago that this fascist Trump administration and the oligarchs that control it began its threats against our immigrant communities. And I am proud to be able to stand here and say that the people of Detroit responded. Within the first week of the Trump administration, we had hundreds of people coming forward to answer this threat. Since then, this movement has only grown, not only in numbers, but in scale and power. We have been able to provide legal and material support to approximately 200 people. We have been able to document hundreds of ICE detentions, identifying this rogue agency by face, vehicles, and their patterns. And yes, in some cases, we have been able to even prevent abductions. We have launched our whistle campaign to alert the community. We have done our Know Your Rights trainings and role playings at businesses, organizations, and schools. And we've done much more, but we have much more work to do. It must be known that we have so many people living under terror and crisis in the city. You know, to give you a few testimonies and examples, we had a pregnant mother call our hotline last month who told us that she has 2 kids and is struggling to feed them for her or herself. Her husband has a work permit but was still kidnapped by ICE. And he missed the birth of his baby girl. He was the sole provider for his family, and now his wife is alone with 3 very young children and no income. We're also helping a family who is living in fear because they are followed to work every day. So they have taken less shifts, and they were not able to get enough money to pay their utilities. So they have been without heat for this last week. Every day at the DPSCD schools in South Detroit, we hear about another student whose family member was taken. For example, a mom and dad dropped their girls off at school one morning in December, only to be taken within 5 minutes of dropping them off. They had been here almost 20 years. They have 2 children who have citizenship, and the only home they know is Detroit. And these are only a few of many people living under the terror of this administration. A terror that the people of this city have been active in struggle against for over a year now. All with a strategy, goal, and vision to remove ICE from being able to enter Detroit. Not with the memo and initiatives that Councilmember Gabriela Santiago Romero has set forward to put in place policies to defend our city and ban ICE from Detroit. There's the possibility for the city's elected officials to get behind its people and further cement the revolutionary history and legacy of Detroit. And I am telling you, it is possible to ban ICE out of Detroit, but we have to engage in struggle and unite together, not only in strategy, but in action. We have to follow the leadership of the grassroots, of the people, and I know we can accomplish this. We ask the city council and the newly elected mayor to get behind the people of Detroit and be in service to that struggle. We tell our immigrant sisters and brothers that they are not alone, that we are here working together to stop this violence. Please connect with us if you have not. We tell this audience to join the fight with Asamblea Popular, the People's Assembly, because we know they cannot win if we fight together. This fascist regime and ICE are weak. That's why all they have to hide behind is violence. They are hollow. And we are powerful because the people are the source of substance, justice, and legitimacy. Let's move forward. And let's not forget that we have the power to make it that not one more member of our community is taken. Thank you.
All right, yo. So I know folks are gonna want to get inside soon to sign up for public comment, so that we can take the voices here inside. But before we do that, I just wanted to say a couple words to send us off, because I think it's really important and amazing that we have like this show of force and unity and different voices, particularly voices of people of color, leaders and activists who are fighting against the racism that we see, that we are impacted by, and the ways that it impacts us. But I want to make it clear that if we want justice, we're gonna have to tear it from their hands like we always have been. Because the inconsistency of our own leaders has put us in this position. Detroit has no business being one of the largest, blackest cities delaying the fight against ICE. That's ridiculous. So we have to step up, and we have to call on our organizations, both our traditional organizations, our churches, our unions, to come out and fight for the working class and oppressed of Detroit, the working class and oppressed across this country, the working class and oppressed bombed in Venezuela and Latin America, who have to deal with the carnage of U.S. imperialism. And that's a fact. That U.S. imperialism strengthening doesn't mean a better United States. It means a meaner ICE. It means more National Guard. It means stronger police who act with impunity. And we have to reject that, and we have to reject that on a politically independent basis where we rely on us. And so I want to make sure before we go inside that we carry that voice, that we're not just making a request, we're making a demand, and we are making a demand we should be prepared to follow up with our own hands. ICE out of the city. ICE out of Detroit now. And U.S. out of Latin America and hands off Venezuela. And I want to make sure People's Assembly is doing canvassing Saturday. There's a mass meeting this Saturday as well from 3 to 5 at Reverend Perez's church, actually. So come out to that to figure out how we can strategize. And thank y'all for coming out. And make sure you sign up for public comment before 10 o'clock, right now.
What he's saying is run.
Oh.